What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne, and this is Black Board Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there, waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complication.
Hey, everybody. So, one of the challenges of being someone that collects board games is getting those board games played, getting those board games to the table. Now, as it stands at this point, I have played 75% of the games in our board game collection. But being that we have a pretty sizable collection, at 600 plus, 25% is still a large quantity of board games that haven't been played. So, moving forward, I plan on spending a little bit more time playing the games in the collection. Does that mean that I'm gonna stop playing newer board games? No. Like I said, I still have my board game groups, and they still pick up board games and everything. And a lot of games in the collection have been introduced to me by them. But I'm gonna make it a point to play the board games that I already have. Also, if I purchase a board game, I'm going to implement before I purchase a board game. I have to make sure I call a board game, donate it to someone or sell it or whatever. Now, with that said, as you can see in the title of the thumbnail, there are 5 Grail board games that if I walked into one of my local board game stores and saw these games on the shelf, then I would immediately count my pennies, check my bank account, and I will pick these games up without a second thought.
But we don't have enough money.
So, so without wasting any time, let's go right into letting you know what these 5 board games are. Now, I do have an honorable mention, and this honorable mention is the reason for this video. Now, one of our followers goes by Imagine Eric. We met him at Origins last year in 2024. And he's a really, really cool guy. And so he knew that I was trying to complete my collection of Sashi and Sashi games. Sashi and Sashi is one of my favorite board game designers. And they had a booth at PAX Unplugged this past year. And that was my first stop when I went into the convention. And I picked up pretty much all the games that I didn't have. But there was one game that I did not have and he didn't have with him. And that is this game right here, Come Sail Away. Now, my wife and I have already played this. We borrowed a friend's copy, and she really enjoyed this game. I really love it too. I just like all the Sashi, but this is the one she loves the most. And pretty much what we're trying to do is we're filling up our cruise ships with different colored meeples, and we're placing it kind of like Mancala style when we, based on the cards, it gives you the color meeples. You start somewhere on your ship and you start placing those meeples, and they have to go in there the same color locker rooms, or you might have a room that needs one of each color or something like that. And this game is really, really cool. And so, like I said, Imagine Eric reached out and said, hey, did you ever find Come Sail Away, rather? Because, he thinks one of his stores has it. And I said, no. And he went and found it and got it for me. And he sent it to me. And it is, my Sashi and Sashi collection is complete. But like I said, that's what prompted this video. So let's get right into the 5 games. Now, the first game I want to talk about is a game that, every year Dice Tower does their top 100 games of all time. And I pay attention to Z Garcia's list because it seems like I gel with the games that he plays more than everybody else. And there was one game that he always mentioned, And that is a game that came out in 1999, I believe. Hold on. Check my list here. Yep, I think I got it right. Yep, 1999. And that game is called Takal. And so what interests me in Takal is, first of all, it's an explorer. You pretty much take on the role of explorers, and you're drafting tiles, placing them near your campsite, and then you have some action points. I believe it's 10 action points, and you spend those action points to move to those tiles and explore the tiles, and you might find a temple or whatever, and it got a little area majority thing going on, and you're building out the board with these tiles, exploring the land. And I love games that give me that Indiana Jones feel. You know, I love Lost Ruins of Arnak. I love Quest for El Dorado, those games like that. So I was really interested in this game. And so, like I said, I know it's out of print probably. And, also, I wanted to say, like, I'm pretty sure that these are games that I can find online. Don't get me wrong. If I just sat down, go on the internet, I could find these games. But I enjoy the physical hunt. I want to go to my local board game store and see if they have it, And I'm not in a rush. But if I see them on the shelf, immediately, it's an immediate purchase. And so, like I said, Takal is just a game that seems like it would really, it really is in my wheelhouse. It's a game that really interests me. Like I said, I like tile placement. I love games that involve exploring, in that Indiana Jones feel. So, Takal is the first game that I will purchase. Now, the second game, speaking of Dice Tower, like when I first got into this board game hobby, my go-to YouTube channels was Dice Tower and Rahdo Runs Through and Watch It Play. And like I say, I have so many others that I watch now. But in the beginning, it was those three. And so, like I said, I watched Dice Tower's Top 100. And Tom Vaso always talked about a game called Le Havre from Uwe Rosenberg. Now, there's some other board games from Uwe Rosenberg that I have not checked out yet. But Le Havre is the one that I was most interested in because in this game, you are building up buildings and ships on the harbor, and you're gaining these resources and you're manipulating those resources in order to build up more buildings and ships, and you're trying to amass your fortune, And I really am attracted to games that have like a nautical theme to it. I mean, where, something like, you're on the, in a harbor or whatever. Like, there's a game that me and my wife enjoy, Public Market, which I really like. There's another game that 25th Century has called Conserva. It's a solo game where you're a fisherman. And so I really gravitate to those type of games. So Le Havre, like I haven't played Agricola and I haven't played Caverna yet. But Le Havre is the one that I'm excited to play. Now, one of my local board game stores, actually a couple of them, had it on their shelves. And every time I would pick it up, take it out, and I was like, I wasn't at that point where I was playing games of that complexity level yet. But then once I felt that I was ready, and then I went, and they didn't have it anymore. So, Le Havre is a game that I would definitely purchase if I saw it on the board game shelf. Now, speaking of my favorite YouTube channel, the YouTube channels that I gravitate to, Rahdo Runs Through, I really love watching Rahdo, how he explains the game. Like, he plays through the game, like giving you an idea of why you would make these choices in these strategy or complex games. And now when he does his wrap up, I look at the games that's on his shelves, and there was one game that was all on his shelf that I was totally interested in, and that is a game called Come Together. Now, Come Together in this game, you are putting together a music festival, you know, in the 1960s. And you are hiring acts and you are building up the stage and all that and just putting it all together. It's a worker placement game, which is my wife's and I favorite board game mechanic. And I figured that it would be a game that she would really like to get into, you know. And I'm curious, like, if that he still has that board case. I know he just did his move to Ireland, but that is a game that also I know that the game had a low print run, so I'm pretty sure this game is, the chances of me seeing it on my board game shelves or one of the board game shelves at my stores is probably like none. But if I was to walk in and saw it there, immediate buy. Now, let's see. That is, okay, I got two more. So, the next one is a game called Circus Flucati. Now, I know you're thinking like, well, wait a minute, Circus Flucati, isn't that a game that it has been recently put out? Yeah, and yes, it has. 25th Century Games put it out in 2024. And in this game, it's a small card game where you're trying to assemble your flea circus. You know, it's push your luck set collection game. Now, this is the game that I consider a Grail game, not because of the copy that 25th Century put out, but there's a Japanese copy of this game that was put out, and it's called like Summer Pleasures. And I actually played that version of the game. You know, my friend Ralph from my Friday night board game group, you know, he's always introducing us to these like small games. And he was the one that introduced me to Wind the Film from Sashi and Sashi. So I remember Summer Treasures. And the art in this game, like in Circus Flucati, you are assembling your flea circus. In Summer Treasures, you're on vacation and pretty much you're collecting sets of the activities that you partake in during your summer vacation. And so in Circus Flucati, you pretty much, you're going to either take a card from the tableau of cards in the middle of the table, or you're going to draw a card off the top of the deck. And if you take it or you add it to the tableau. And so the acts or the treasures, and did I say summer pleasures? I think it's summer treasures. You know, you're trying to collect sets like trios of the cards. The cards, there's 10 different colors in the cards, and you are trying to get trios of the same number. These cards are numbered 1 through 7, and so you get trios in front of you. And if you get the trios of one number, that's 10 points. And if you get one of each of the acts or the treasures, then you get another 10 points. I hope I'm explaining it well, you know. But like I said, Circus Flucati, I'll probably pick up Circus Flucati. But the one I really want is Summer Treasures, you know. Like, I felt the same way with Trio. You know, when I first got introduced to Trio, I got introduced to the original version, Nana. And I purchased Trio, and I love Trio, but then I love the art in Nana. So I ended up getting a copy of Nana also. And so that's my number 4. You know, that is a game that I will pick up immediately if I saw it on the shelves. Now, the last game is a game that I mentioned in my I need to apologize to these board games video, you know. and I actually saw this game on the shelf, and I kept like, you know, like I played my friend's copy, and like I said, I was building up to it, like, I don't see it yet. And then I started seeing it, and then once I saw it, like I said, I could have always played my friend's copy. But this is a game that I think Alicia really, really love, you know. And, of course, especially with the castle. So if you haven't figured it out, the game is Castles of Burgundy. Now, of course, the copy that I saw at my board game store is gone. Somebody else figured it out before me, so it's already gone. And I would have to get, like, for me, it'd probably be any iteration. You know, it could be the first copy or the 10-year anniversary or the new Awakened Realms copy. But for my wife, I probably would get the Awakened Realms version because I think she would gravitate towards those castles. And like I said, I talked about how I feel about Castles of Burgundy. You can, if you haven't checked out that video where I apologize to some board games, you definitely should check that one out. That was a really fun one for me. But yeah, if I came across the deluxe version of Castles of Burgundy at the store, I probably would have to do more than count my pennies, because it's a pretty pricey game. I had to count my dollars for that one. But yeah, I will pick that one up. And I think my wife, Alicia, would like it, you know. So, there you have it. Those are 5 board games, my 5 Grail board games that I would purchase without a second thought, you know. And let me know in the comments that is there a board game that you would just, without a second thought, if you saw it out in the wilds, you will pick up no matter what, you know. And if you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And I'm Dwayne. This has been Blackboard Gaming, and I will see you next time.